everybody. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Kristen Ford, and this is Running a Holistic Office. Yay! So I'm so glad that you are all here. We're going to give a few minutes for more people to tune in. We are live streaming on multiple platforms, and so would love to hear from you all where you're tuning in from and maybe a little bit about what business you're in. That would be really awesome. So we'll keep taking a look at those comments and maybe give a few minutes here for more people to tune in. So while we're doing that, I thought maybe I would just get started. This is my first show, so I appreciate you guys kind of bearing with me while I kind of figure this the whole live thing out, and just wanted to just kind of tell you a little bit more about what running a holistic office is all about, and what exactly it is. I mean, that's today's like theme, right? What is a holistic office? So a lot of you know me from my consulting years. I've done a lot of different consulting. I've been involved in real estate. I've been involved a lot of finance and consulting. And I've been inside about 24 different companies, both in New Jersey and in the greater San Diego area, having that front row seat, helping business owners, CEOs, and the C-suite to better understand their financials and make strategic decisions and, generally just like have their back, right? And help them, really run a great, business, right? On top of that, some of my favorite clients have been holistic healthcare practitioners, right? You guys have, always been good to me. If you've read anything in my profile, you'll know that holistic healthcare is something very personal for me. Been using it for years. It's been helping my family. It helps me. And generally, I really like assisting the clients that I've had who are running, busy practices. I just find them to be awesome people, and really the ones that seem to need the most support when they're running that office. And so when I combine the two together, I realize that my personal philosophy about running a business is that it is still a holistic entity, just like how many of you view, the body, right? When one part of it gets sick, it's not just the one part, the whole system is sick. And running a business is kind of the same way. If there's a part of your business that's being neglected or, just isn't functioning well, it's going to impact your whole business. Now, let's get real here. Not every part of the business is as important. We have an appendectomy. It's not like anybody dies here, but hey, there's some parts that are very important. If you don't have any sales, well, that's pretty important. You don't have much of a company, right? So for me, what I'm trying to do for everyone here is to help you look at all these different parts of your company, give you tips and tricks to help you run a smooth running company or practice, right? So that you're not stressing about it, right? You're not reacting to your practice. And you're able to have a business that runs like the care that you give to so many people, right? It's holistic, it's nurturing. Sometimes there's some firm talking tos. We don't like those as much, but hey, I just find that businesses are just a lot like anything that is a holistic system. So I find when I start working with practitioners and business owners that you guys are all spread really thin. Um, and when that happens, and you don't have your systems in place, your staff tends to be unhappy. And then, you know what? Your clients become unhappy too. And then, you're losing money, you're not sleeping well, you're not doing any of these things, right? So, as I started to say before, my goal is to share with you all this knowledge that I've gained through the years as a finance and business consultant, right? I kind of find that, one of the areas that I can really help people is, helping them streamline all the various apps that they use, when they're running a busy practice. So some of those apps are almost always an electronic health records, or practice management system that you have. And of course, your books, right? Then we can add in, other types of apps like your scheduling app. Maybe you have another app for communicating with prospective clients and marketing. I've seen apps for just about all kinds of different things here. And what I find is in the busy practice and in a small business, all of these apps become overwhelming, right? So I really try to help you, better streamline these things. And if I can, help you run your practice better, or if I can give you any tips on things maybe you haven't thought about or don't have the time to think about, then great. So, as I started to mention, I have been, privileged to work with multiple, dozens of businesses at this point. What I really found is that EHR and that CRM, if you're a small business or a non-medical practice, they're really the heart of your business, right? And when I was working with, just such a holistic healthcare practice, I realized that you guys aren't being served real well by your EHR. They tend to be, focused on either just patient management, which of course is, what they're there for, right? But they also tend to neglect the rest of your practice, or they think the only other part of your practice is billing. And while those are super important, they're not the only parts, right? So they don't always play well with your books. And or they're not easy to use, and you're just spending tons of time trying to learn them, or worse yet, you just kind of give up on it and kind of only use part of the features that they have, so you're not getting all of those benefits, right? So what we're going to do in this show is we're going to tackle different parts of running a business, and and talk about ways to make that easier, to make it more engaging, help you make some money, maybe sleep better at night. And I'm really hoping that along the way, we are going to cover all the topics that are germane. And I decided to do this live because frankly, some of this stuff is just boring. Okay. Like, even though I like, done accounting work and finance work, and I find it interesting. I'm not going to lie here, right? Sometimes you start reading about this stuff and it's just a snooze fest, So we're going to try to make this a little bit more interesting for you, and try to give you some easy to use, tangible tips to immediately start getting the benefits of having more consistent and streamlined operations. Okay. So some of those topics are going to be, best practices for securing the data, the data in your company or in your practice. The PHI, it's the most valuable thing that you have. And the more you can do to protect that, the better. And I think that there's a lot of misinformation there about simple things that you can do almost immediately to start securing that. And I think this is a big, big topic. I think it's so important that we will probably start off every month talking about one or two things that we can do immediately to, secure that data. Okay. So next week, we're going to start off with just that one thing. So, we all know we read the news, we hear about all of these things. This is super, super important. And it's the one thing that is easier than you think to start protecting, but can cause you the most damage if you do not. Okay. Other things we're going to talk about, another recurring issue is going to be, or topic is going to be reviewing your financials. One of the things I find about small business owners is you guys are always reacting to your business, right? There's always a fire that has to be put put out. And really, you don't know where your revenue is coming from, which services are the most popular. If you're selling nutraceuticals, or if you're selling any type of, product to your clients or your patients that they like, do you really know what they're buying? Do you know what your stick rate is? Do you know about any of these types of things besides your gut feeling? And listen, I know all you intuitives out there, the gut feeling is super important. I get it. But we also need the data to back up what we're doing. So I'll also be spending time every month talking about your financials and your books, and to make them work for you, so that it's not just a checkbox that you check off every month going, well, the bookkeeping's done. Isn't that right? And then we still don't know what's going on, right? And then we're also going to talk about just implementing effective processes, right? Something that goes on throughout your office, so that when you have turnover or any type of issue, or even just want to get the job done, we have a process in place that is easy to use. Is not just some dusty word salad that nobody pays any attention to, but is instead an integral part of your business. I don't want to overcomplicate anything. It doesn't help anybody to do that. But these three things together, we're going to talk about all these different topics that are going to help you better manage your practice. So, with that being said, along the way, I'm going to introduce you to some of my office mates. And we have here a picture coming up of there's my favorite office mate right there. So that's Daisy. You're going to get to meet her from time to time and hear about what she's doing. And you may also learn a few things about what we don't do in the office, because Daisy's really good about not doing things well in the office sometimes too. But we love her, and you'll get to meet her. I also want to introduce you to some outside experts. I like to think I'm super smart, but I might not be the smartest person in the room all the time. I mean, who knew, right? Anyways, we will be inviting people to come in and talk about how they handle their practice, how they, anywhere from marketing to, understanding maybe some broader issues about running a business as well. And so that's going to be super exciting. And I really look forward to, introducing you to some of the folks I've met along the way. Some great people out there, and so many people who want to give. And that's really, what this is all about here. I want to help you be successful, just as you're helping me be successful, and being healthy, and trying not to stress out so much, right? And generally just taking care of me and my family, right? So, you know, maybe we can have a little fun along the way, maybe have a laugh or two along the way, no promises, but, hey, I'll try, right? Okay. So, what I'd like to do now is we're coming up, my gosh, the time really goes by fast. I'd like to try to keep this, to 15 minutes if we can, but I just want to say to you guys that I'm really enjoying reconnecting with so many of you and meeting so many new folks. There are so many amazing practitioners out there, and you all are doing amazing things. And to the practitioners who are sharing your advice and your humor, and thank you, because you are always reminding me to take better care of myself, and I thank you for that. So as we end our show here, I want to remind you that if you want to connect with me, I am on LinkedIn. I would love your connection. And I probably should have mentioned that a little bit earlier. If you're on Facebook, you can follow me. And next week we are going to get started, and I'm going to share with you count them, two easy to use and powerful tools to immediately make your data more secure. So send me any questions or topics you want to discuss, or just drop a line and say hello. So until then, have an awesome week, everybody. Bye.